This 220,000 Lange Söhne 1815 Rattrapante Perpetual Calendar is going to, without setting, display the correct time and date for the next 28,470 days or 79 years. The clue as to how this works entirely mechanical and without any sort of battery, by the way, can be found in the last part of its name, 1815 Rattrapante and Perpetual Calendar. And in this video, we are going to look at the three aspects to learn how exactly that works. So let's first have a look at the 1815 part, because 1815 holds a very special value to Lange Söhne. It's the birthday of Ferdinand Adolf Lange, who founded Lange Söhne in Glashütte in Germany, one of the most well-known German watch manufacturers. Every watch out of the 1815 line is basically a notional homage to the founder. Within this line, Lange likes to make use of contrasting dark colors, which isn't usually what they are going for, as well as their chemin de fer design for their small seconds, which is this train track-like design you can see here. According to Lange, those train tracks are a stand-in for the zeitgeist of that time, you know, when the railroad was up and coming, which therefore made precise timekeeping and pocket watches more relevant than ever before. The reason why Lange founded his company in Glashütte. Anyways, this watch right here still deviates from the rest of the 1815 line, and perhaps some of you can already tell by the following thing what lies behind all of it. It all starts with the case with a diameter of about 42mm, a lug-to-lug of 50mm, and a height of almost 14.7mm. It is a rather unusually large watch. Besides its size, the 18-karat case made from solid rose gold still remains in a Lange typical design with these teardrop-shaped lugs, the convex bezel, this ring design going around it, though this time it isn't brushed like usual but entirely polished. Especially in that size, it makes this watch really shiny. The first reason as to why this watch is built the way it is can be found in the second part of the name. Rattrapante is French and can be translated to something like catch up. And this catching up refers to the stop function of this watch, so the chronograph. In short, it means that this particular chronograph is able to time interim times or rounds, so basically 2 times at once. And here is how that works. With the first press onto the pusher at the top on the right, you start the chronograph, so the blue hand starts to move. And by pressing it again, you stop the hand, and if you then press down the pusher at the right hand side, you set the hand back again. Nothing unusual about this. So how do you time the second time interval? Well, it's rather simple, because there's a little secret hiding underneath the blue hand. What you'll find here is another chronograph hand in gold, but it is only visible when you press down the pusher on the left hand side, because the blue chrono hand stops, which now represent the interval time, and so the golden chrono hand keeps on running. The golden chrono hand, so the second time interval, can also be triggered by pressing the left hand pusher whilst all hands are resting at basically 0, and then pressing the pusher on the top right. That way the blue chrono hand remains at 0, with only the golden hand counting the time. But of course, the name Rattrapante wouldn't make sense if the chronograph wouldn't be doing exactly that, you know, catching up. So that means that you can catch up to the blue chrono hand with the golden chrono. You only need to press down the left hand pusher again, and the blue hand jumps right to the golden hand, so to catch up to it. For that, the blue hand is basically looking at what the golden hand is doing, which means that if the golden hand is currently running, the blue one will catch up to it and run with it. In case the golden chrono hand is standing still, the blue hand will catch up to it but will remain as still at the exact same position. And what's even more genius is the fact that you can see how all of that works on the case back of this watch. I mean, Lange movements are a highlight in themselves, but it's rather rare that you can see 2 column wheel chronographs packed into one movement. And so the column wheel on the left here is taking care of the main chrono, so the blue hand, while the one on the right hand side takes care of the golden hand. On top of that, you get all the other good stuff from Lange, like the Glashütte typical striping, the perlage, as well as 2 balance cocks engraved by hand. So right, now let's get to the point that is mainly to blame for the fact that this watch is going to display the correct time and date for the next 28,470 days, so 79 years, up until the 28th of February in 2100, provided that it never runs out of energy. So most watches with a date cannot differentiate between months with 31 or 30 days, so about every 2 months you would have to correct your date. But there are watches that can differentiate between different months. Those are called annual calendars, and they can cost as much as a small car. Unfortunately though, the Earth takes a tad bit longer than exactly 1 year to orbit the sun, and so to compensate for that additional time, we humans introduced a leap year every 4 years in which the month of February gets an extra day added to it. And so for a watch to make that differentiation, watchmakers had to come up with a rather complex solution to this problem. So first of all, a leap year cycle consists of 48 months with different lengths varying from 28 to 31 days. So those 48 months have to be somehow mechanically represented and also distinguished. On this watch, all of this is made to work by a single program wheel, whose 48 indentations are varied in depth to represent the different lengths of a month. So this program wheel turns on its own axis once every 4 years, placing the little lever into the right indentation to display the correct month and also to show you the current state within the leap year cycle on the subdial. Anyways, the question still remains why exactly this Lange Söhne watch doesn't run correctly on the 1st of March in 2100, but there's a very short explanation for that. A secular year is a year that ends a century, within the next being 2100. According to our Gregorian calendar, a calendar system which most of the world is currently using, a secular year skips the leap year to correct any deviations from the previous year. So we basically all have to meet up again in 79 years at the end of February to not let this watch jump to the 29th of February, but set it directly to the 1st of March. Again, provided that it never stops running out of time in the meantime. But if we do all of that, the watch will run perfectly fine for the next 100 years. So now you know not only what exactly lies behind the name of this watch, the 1815 Rattrapante Perpetual Calendar, but also how it works and the amount of effort that went into making it happen in the first place. I mean, of course, those 220,000 are still a hefty price tag, no doubt, but it is still a masterpiece from Lange, packed with technical finesse and craftsmanship. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of this watch and if this is something you could potentially see yourself wearing. As always, if you have enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this one, you can subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you in my next one. Bye!